like I had to do a double
Some of
take.
them are seamless, not as seamless.
I was like, wait, what? Oh,
That was
wow.
that.
Looking back, PCM had just conducted auditions for a show that we thought we were going to do over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
What would we do next? Because it was apparent by that point that we weren't going to be in the same room together for a while. I watched a lot of stuff online on Zoom. You know, some of them were good and entertaining, and some of them were really bad. And I was like, I don't want to do something that's really bad. But you want to tell a certain kind of story. And, you know, if it was anything that was too physical and we're doing it via Zoom, it kind of loses something in the translation, you know? Art is a reflection of our time, you know, regardless of whether you intend that as a writer. You know, you take these scripts and you plop them down in the middle of, you know, a timeline and, you know, the best stuff says something about that timeline. And these are unique times. But I didn't want it to be angry, what I wrote, and I didn't want it to be, you know, self-indulgent, and I didn't want it to be too jokey. When I reached out to say, hey, let's do something, what was your reaction? What, are you crazy?
Oh, fuck
No,
yeah.
I ain't got shit to do, so.
Let's go.
No, not at all. I was ready. I would have contributed, participated in anything
Yeah.
to do this again. But the fact that there's zero politics in this. So you're talking about this being a reflection of the time, but there's nothing political in what we were discussing
Right.
while we were doing this. It was just personal. And I'm happy that that is what it was. Like I said, I would have done anything. And I would have been glad to have been political and played any character. you
We've
wanted
done that
to do.
before.
We've done that before.
Jack off.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that it was at the root of what things are.
Your character was actually kind of important because it was starting to trend towards being a little bit too soft, too touchy-feely, not to, you know, but there really needed to be a counterpoint, and your character was the counterpoint, and I didn't want you to be, and this is where it might have gotten off the rails and gotten political, is, you know, I didn't want you to be angry or combative too much with them for what they were feeling or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was why I took the angle of the humor, because that kind of broke that down
Breaks
a
the
little
tension
bit.
a little bit, you know, it's not comic relief, but
You need a release.
It's a tension breaker. You know?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh, God.
I feel like we're a family, and we do have fun when we come together, and it's.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I like how we can all like feed off each other, and it's just natural. We all get together, and it's like we're a family.
PCM and the theater work that we do is kind of like not just a creative outlet for me; it's a social outlet.
It's funny, I seen somebody wearing a t-shirt years ago, and she's a theater person, and it was just a black shirt and white letters that said, I have rehearsal.
I have one of those.
You have one of those? Okay, so, and like, of course, theater people get that joke or whatever, because it's just, whenever your friends ask you to do something like, I can't, I have rehearsal,
Yeah.
that's like the most commonly used excuse for not hanging out with somebody, you know? Man, rehearsals really do account for for some of your social interaction, so much of your social interaction, you know?
I just miss going to a theater and be like, okay, I have rehearsal that day. Well, what are we going to do at that rehearsal? We're doing this at that rehearsal. We're doing dance. We're doing singing. I always get so excited for it. Even, not just because of the social, just because of being on stage and performing and rehearsing for it.
No matter how tired you
No
get,
matter
no
how
matter how
tired.
frustrated you get,
Yeah,
it's,
I love it. It's getting ready to actually put on a show for an audience, and that's something I always look forward to.
Yeah.
Always miss that.
I also look forward to going out after the rehearsals
Exactly.
with the cast and, you know.
It's like, oh, what did we do during this performance? Did we miss a line there? Did someone fall on their face at this point?
I want to do this again.
Yeah.
Like I want to start over now
Yeah.
again. And maybe like what's the next show? I don't want to wait 3, 4, 5 months for somebody to write something and offer it or tell me, come try out for this. Let's go.
I don't know. I've done a couple of years where it was just like, not in a row, but like literally like January to January. It was nothing but rehearsals and shows.
I know.
You know, I'd go from one show to the next. Like one would start rehearsing before the previous one was done performing. And you need a break after that. Like, I mean, like, it was fun. Like I got so much to do. I
It
got
burns you out.
but yeah, but like by that last one, I was like, I just need a weekend to myself. Like I need to stay home on a Tuesday night. You know?
I think as someone whose unique heroes come from, I don't have a history of theater. Like I came into this very late in my life, and I get that and I understand that. I just think for me, if I was going to burn out over something, I'd want to burn out over that.
Whether or not you did 5 shows back to back, or whether or not you had like a few months in between PCM shows, the fact that 2020 has screwed us all in so many ways, like after having even just a few months of like not doing anything, it was like once you said, "Do you guys want to do something?" We were all like, "Of course."
That was probably the fastest I heard from everybody. Which is like, oh yeah, all right, okay, where do I sign up?
And it was no joke. I mean, against our own interests, health-wise.
Yeah.
I wasn't exaggerating when I said, I'll come naked. I'll do love scenes with a stranger. I don't care.
We were putting ourselves on the line.
I'm willing to do it. I don't care what happens.
I'll
It
bring
made no
hand
sense.
sanitizer.
It made no sense,
Wow.
really. But, it's that important
Yeah.
to me.
I missed people. Like I missed, some of the things that I
This
think.
you said.
All right, we progressed through the summer, but then it was like, all right, how are we going to do this? And I kind of had always intended on it being something that we kind of captured by that Zoom platform. And that was really where, the conversation with Jim Parker started. He said, with that very Jim voice, we could safely do this here at the studio and put it on film. He had me over here and he showed me something that he had shot. That the one person was here in the United States. There was a person, I think, in Ireland, and the other person was in Korea. He took the footage of each of them individually and put it into this film where it looked like they were all in the same room. And I was like, all right, we don't need to do anything that elaborate. So I gave him the script, and that was when, he was like, we could definitely do this here. So then it just became a situation of being able to rehearse.
A lot of indoor stuff still was like just barely opening up, so
Yeah.
everyone was still sort of.
We did one down at Open Arts. So that's a room that we're usually in to perform. And they had put all the chairs up behind the curtains on the stage, and we're out where the audience would be with not a single piece of furniture except the 5 or 6 chairs that we used. And
That
Never
was
seen
strange.
that room that empty.
That was
I've
strange.
never seen that.
it was weird.
It's
It was
creepy.
weird.
It
A
was.
little creepy.
I remember we were standing in the parking lot beforehand, even, and we were just like we were all talking sort of about how like this is like really familiar and awesome, but also really kind of strange because that was the first time, even just being in the parking lot, that was the first time where we were all together in the same, like not without Zoom. You get so used to it in a lot of ways, and for better or worse, even if you don't like it, you're just it's like, well, this is what the new normal is and stuff.
And, like still standing far apart. It's like, oh, but I want to give you a hug.
Yeah,
I want to give you a
yeah.
high five. Like, how are you doing? It's like, but I have to be
Yeah, that's
very
the biggest
cautious,
difference.
Which is
And even the line,
Weird.
I think it's Damien's
Yeah.
line in the script of, I don't want to be elbow bumping the rest of my life.
I
It's
really
just,
don't.
That's
I
just-
rarely do it now.
Yeah.
I'd rather do nothing than bump elbows
Yeah.
with somebody.
now we caught a break because early October
Yeah.
so nice.
was mild enough that we just set up shop in my backyard. And, our first outdoor rehearsals, it got you guys together safely. So that you could run the lines more easily together. You started to find your rhythm. That was kind of a turning point in the process, and it started to pick up speed. And it started to feel almost normal.
Yeah.
Right?
It did, yeah.
When you brought up doing a person at Damien, I remember you were like a big thing, like, oh, this is gonna be so much better. We're gonna actually have the flow. It's just
Yeah.
it's not the same online on Zoom.
You can rehearse your line
Yeah.
as much as you want on your own, and you can do over the phone or over Zoom, whatever. But it'll never click until you're,
No.
with the
Much
people
more
like in
now.
the just 5 feet or whatever, 6 feet.
Yeah, the body language, the expressions, just change your tone.
Everything's,
Everything's how you
you know-
deliver something. It's vastly different.
Stepped in poop that one
You
night.
stepped in poop that
Yeah,
one
yeah.
night.
Although you don't have any pets, so
I don't know
where it
what that
came from,
was.
I don't know. And that was our last rehearsal too.
And that was our last rehearsal, and that was when it was time to come here and step into a completely different world. Mr. Parker was like, we can do this. We can film each of them individually, and I can layer the pieces over each other, and it's going to end up looking like they're all in the same room.
I'd never done green screen before,
Right.
So that was something else. But
The scene was the scene, though, and other things. Here,
yeah,
it was this whole
not,
situation
not
of-
having anyone next to me.
Yes.
That was the weird part. That
Yes.
was,
so the way...
talking over this way and there's
Yeah.
no one there.
It's like, where are they standing? Should I look up like this? Should I look over there? Are they over here?
But it was helpful to have you guys
Exactly.
standing,
Doing
and not just reading your lines from where
Yeah.
you weren't supposed to
Exactly.
be. This is why I had general point. Shooting film is fun, because you get take after take, you screw up, try it again.
Yeah, it did relieve some of the pressure.
It did, but nothing beats
Not the
live
same.
theater though.
That's
It's
right.
different.
That's
It's,
right.
it's
But so, the path forward is, someday, hopefully very, very soon, we'll be back in the same space. We'll have a live audience that will laugh at our jokes and react to, people dropping lines or get emotional at the appropriate spaces, hopefully. But I was watching a documentary a couple weeks ago. Bruce Springsteen had released a new album, which he recorded over the course of, I think, like 5 days at the studio at his house here in Jersey. When he had his band members come over to the house, and they would do a toast in the morning to lost loved ones and friends. Making music is their lives, and making it together, and having them come over to the house, and he made a point of calling them, this is our tribe. This is what we do. And I found myself reacting to that very viscerally when I was watching it, because we were in the middle of getting ready for all this, and I thought, yeah, that's PCM. This is what we do.
so we're all getting tribal tattoos.
We're getting tribal tattoos, and we're gonna do shots before and after all of our rehearsals from now on. I mean, this is our tribe. This is what we do, and I look forward to us always getting together to continue to do this stuff, and for as long as we can.
I miss you guys.
Are you quoting the script
Quoting the
now?
show.
She's shamelessly
Clever
angling for-
girl.